Peace, power, and blessings. My name is Nejma Nefertiti, and I'm a revolutionary hip-hop artist representing the Women's Freedom Collective Party, the Afro-Yaki Music Collective, and Eco-socialist Horizons, standing in solidarity with our comrades from Cooperation Jackson, the People's Strike. No work, no shopping, no rent. In these times, we have the ability to evolve our world the way we want under these circumstances. This is our chance to stand up without fear. The first piece I'm going to do a cappella. It's a song by the late, great Fred Ho, which I usually perform backed by the beautiful music of my Afro-Yaki Music Collective family, dedicated to all the workers out there. It's called We Refuse. We refuse to be used and abused. We choose to stand up like we ain't got nothing to lose, for the struggle of workers paying dues, bringing unity, sparking the fuse. Walk without shoes, bare feet to Mother Earth. Break the power of a wage, maroon exchange. Arrange that score into something strange. The world is so much better when we change. So much better when we create, build motion and range. So much better when we share respect for the oceans and plains. Honor each other, break the chains. Honor yourselves, feed your brains. Drive the train, leave nobody behind. Get there by any means, shine like the matter we are made of. Shine as you are, nothing to be afraid of. Destroy the blockades, never sway, get your weight up. Get your love on, not your hate up, enhance the flavor. Dance, let the music save ya. Dance, become greater. Dance, fierce, fly without wings, no capitals. Balance these flammables, radical, intangible, understandable, expandable, out the box, diagonal. We refuse. We refuse to be used and abused. We choose to stand up like we ain't got nothing to lose, for the struggle of workers paying dues, bringing unity, sparking the fuse. Organize and align. We choose to stand up and remind that we refuse to be left behind. We refuse to be used and confined. We refuse to be used and abused, for the struggle of workers paying dues, bringing unity, sparking the fuse. Walk without shoes, bare feet to Mother Earth. Dance, let the music save ya. Dance, become greater. Dance, fierce, fly without wings, no capitals. Balance these flammables, radical, intangible, understandable, expandable, out the box, diagonal. Dance, let the music save ya. Dance, become greater. Dance, fierce, fly without wings, no capitals. Balance these flammables, radical, intangible, understandable, expandable, out the box, diagonal. We refuse to be used and abused. In 2017, I was a delegate of the first Eco-Socialist International. About 100 people from 19 countries and 5 continents came together to create the plan of action for the salvation of Mother Earth. You can find that plan of action in digital format on Eco-socialisthorizons.com under content, the first Eco-Socialist International. I wrote this piece while in 3 Afro-Indigenous communities in VET-OS. Much love to all our Venezuela people, we love you. This is called Mother Africa, and I'll be performing it to an ancient Korean drum composed by Dakota Camacho, peace brother. First performed for the opening scene in my dear sister Marina Solander's Mermaid's Howl. Some hearts possess a fire, which pulsate for justice. Mother trust this, Mother Earth. Mother right, Mother fight, Mother night, Mother struggle, Mother militant, Mother original, Mother indigenous, Mother supreme, Mother dream, Mother nightmare, Mother have no fear, Mother nurturer, Mother independence, Mother compassion, Mother generosity, Mother fashion, Mother reciprocity, Mother invention, Mother martial arts, Mother intention, Mother matriarchy, Mother flower, Mother power, Mother imagination, Mother hallucination, Mother respected, Mother consciousness, Mother community, Mother unity, Mother fathers and brothers, Mother soon to be, Mother liberation, Mother freedom, Mother of the revolution, Mother future, Mother producer, Mother insanity, Mother humanity, Mother creation, Mother manifest, Mother life forms, Mother consent, Mother sex expression, Mother no question, Mother black and brown, Mother mention, Mother what you have, Mother what you give, Mother rich within, Mother souls, eliminating gender roles, Mother values, Mother sustainability, Mother resilience, Mother actualization, Mother brilliance. I love my mother's perseverance, Mother appearance where what you want, no interference, Mother clearance, all our mothers facing disappearance, Mother serious, Mother delirious, our mothers are furious, Mother sister solidarity, Mother clarity, Mother disparity, Mother till my ears are full of dirt and I travel, Mother winds and clouds, Mother screaming, baby girl, you made me proud, Mother loud, Mother ceremony, Mother libations, Mother sensation, Mother Haitian, Mother incredible, Mother freedom all, Mother overstand, Mother bounce back rubber bands, Mother sands, Mother faraway lands. I was shaped from my mother's hands, Mother Joanna, Mother Dawn, Mother gangster, Mother I made her and I'll erase her. Mother, you such a prankster, Mother of the movement, Mother rain, Mother made it through the pain, Mother run for your life, Mother strive, Mother Put your fists in the air by connecting all five. Mother fingers, mother trauma lingers, mother singers. Mother art equals politics. Mother maroon, mother I will see you soon. Mother for you I write this tune. Mother monsoon, mother tsunami. Mother I'll be waiting for you at the border. Mother you army, mother I am you. Mother broken, mother ill-spoken, mother token, mother I'm so high, mother sky, mother you are so fly. Mother for you I live and die. Mother to you I can never lie. Mother you could read my eyes. Mother truth, mother bust a rhyme in the booth. Mother youth, mother elder, mother I could never sell her. Mother even in my worst state of addiction. Mother affliction, mother project that delivery. Mother synergy, mother self-determined. Mother autonomous, mother Zapatista. Mother anonymous, mother estás lista. Mother guerrera, mother taína, mother boricua. Mother chavista, mother Palestina. Mother Irani, mother First Nation. Mother Lebanon, mother Ether. Mother bumping through my speakers. Mother Korea, mother Nefertiti. Mother Wahoo, mother Algeria. Mother Mama Sia. Mother Africa. Mother Africa. Mother Africa. Mother Africa. Mother Africa. We don't have any doubts. We are radicals. We shall return to our roots and our original ways. We shall see the past not only as a point of departure, but also as a point of arrival. We have made the decision and the collective commitment to constitute the first Eco-Socialist International, to reverse the destructive process of capitalism, to return to our origins and recuperate the ancestral spirituality of humanity, to live in peace and end war.
Welcome to the 25th anniversary Roses and Bread program and part of the People's Strike movement. So Roses and Bread is a women-only trans and cis event that has taken place once a year for 25 years. This is our 25th year, and this is the first year that men as well as women can completely be part of the entire event. We have a Facebook page, Roses and Bread, that you're welcome to look at. And I wanted to explain a little bit about the reasoning behind doing this event and why it's so meaningful to us. While many of us work with men during the year in our collectives and movements, we take this moment to recognize the commonality that the experience of women's oppression and resisting it has created in our consciousness and our ways of being. We don't ever dismiss or forget the brutal realities of racist imperial oppression inside and outside the US, or the white supremacy that pulls our experience apart as well. This moment in our history with the COVID crisis provides specific challenges for women. While women are almost half of the normal workforce in the world right now, we are 70% of the worldwide healthcare providers and 60% of the frontline workers. So we're exposed to the worst risks of the pandemic, especially working class women and women of color and immigrant women. In addition, as childcare centers and schools shut down, the double shift intensified. I can't tell you how many meetings I have been in where my coworkers were juggling a baby on their lap or a little child while we were trying to talk in the meeting about our work, and their partners were working nearby, husbands, completely ignorant of their shared responsibility for childcare. Sheltering has also led to an intensification of domestic violence. UN Secretary General Arturo Guterres wrote this past Sunday, "I urge all governments to put women's safety first as they respond to the pandemic." While we ourselves respond to this crisis, our challenge is to see the entirety of what's happening while it happens and create new responses. So I told you about the issue of, how many of the healthcare providers are women. Well, guess what? All around the world, women are trying to fit in emergency equipment that is all sized for men. That's just a specific. In the same time, this is a moment of vast social change. And let's look in practice at what we can do to immediately respond to the issues for women. So a shout out now to Matt Meyer and Bob Lederer, and even to Sean Meyer, the younger generation, for coming forward and for 25 years providing us with childcare when we do this kind of programming. Let us challenge the double shift in all of our organizing very specifically, and let us create safe spaces for women and challenge abusive behavior in the left, in our families, as we want to also challenge it in our leadership. All this while we protect and support the frontline workers and healthcare providers. Let us use this time of system failure to organize for real changes. The Earth is improving because we have shut down many of our CO2 emissions. If we can do it for this crisis, we can find a way to make more lasting changes before the real challenge to life on Earth, our destruction of the climate, forces our hands. So, over the years in Roses and Bread, we have raised money for the New York Mothers of the Disappeared, Commissary for Women Political Prisoners, and many other important issues. This particular year, we wanted to support the Proyecto Salud y Acupuntura para el Pueblo in Puerto Rico. It's a movement composed of many young women as well as men who go out and do lay acupuncture in the different towns of Puerto Rico where the healthcare system has already failed. They did this before the earthquake. They did it during the earthquakes in the towns that were still shaking. And I know that they will be doing it during the COVID crisis as it affects Puerto Rico. We have had performances in 15 languages, performers from the famous to the soon to be famous. We've had Mariposa, Susie Day, Amina Baraka among them. Today, we are honoring and bringing back Sonia Sanchez, who has performed for us in the past. She is not able to perform directly today, so she will perform through video, and she wants to send a support message to the entire People's Strike from her, as well as a special message to us for our 25th anniversary.
As Bertolt Brecht asked of poems, he was adjudicating, what use is it? Are you there to persuade, seduce, instruct with tenderness or brutality, make us think, help us to arm ourselves against fascism? Are your poems a communication act? Do they search you out of complacency, begin a dialogue? And I always begin my classes with that quote, because you see, at some particular point, that's what this thing, poetry, is about, is it not? It is not, in a very real sense, to keep you completely contented. And certainly if you read me, you know my poems don't keep you contented. When I started to write, I wanted to tell how I had became this woman with razor blades between her teeth. What made me want to powder others into my bloodstream? What made me rise up to tell my story and finally to learn and tell all of our stories? I guess it must have been something underneath our skirts, women, sisters from Africa, the Caribbean, America, Asia, Latin America, South America, the Middle East, Europe, something unaccented, accented in our talk, our walk, sisters. I first started to write after my grandmother died. When I was 6 years old, I, child stutterer, who ran with the boys, tasted the wind in my eyes and mouth, and swallowed it whole, I wrote privately and secretly for years. This private self became the public self when I discovered all of the pain and rage inside me had a history and herstory. All of the silence had been superimposed on me. I wrote out loud because I had discovered Du Bois's double consciousness. It is a peculiar sensation, this double consciousness, this sense of always looking at oneself through the eyes of others, of measuring one's soul by the tape of a world that looks on in amused contempt and pity. One ever feels his two-ness, her two-ness, an American, a Negro, two souls, two thoughts, two unreconciled strivings, two warring ideals in one dark body, whose dogged strength alone keeps it from being torn asunder. And I wrote, come into Black geography, you seated like Manzu's cardinal. Come up through tongues, multiplying memories, and to avoid descent among moons cruising like ships, climb into these sockets golden with brine. Because I was born musician to two Black braids, I cut a blues song for America. And you cushioned by middle-class springs saw ghettos that stretched voices into dust. Turn corners where people walked on their faces. I sang unbending songs and gathered gods convenient as Christ. I am the frozen face. Here my face marches towards new mist while spring runs green with ghosts. I am the living mask. Here my skin warm with adolescence pierced like Picasso's plains, and the earth in one fold of permanence stares at the skies. If I had a big piece of dust to ride on, I would gather up my pulse and follow disposable dreams, and all things being equal, they would pass into butterflies and quiver in sprawling yellow. I was born in Birmingham, Alabama. Some people called it Birmingham for years, where many of the Black women were housewives, mothers, and teachers, workers, and servants. The men were mostly workers. A few well-trained, conditioned ones were teachers in Black schools. A few owned businesses in Alabama, and there were a few millionaires. Or some worked in companies like my grandfather, who worked at the American Cast Iron Pipe Company. As pipes came out, he tagged them with a number. And my grandmother was a domestic, housewife, mother, deaconess in the AME Zion Church. We live within the shadow of segregation, overt racism, in the shadow of Black folk at the mercy of everyone, schools, police courts, law, federal, state, local governments, and all of our experiences were shaped by these various forces. I bring to you this short autobiographical statement because I believe the Caribbean writer George Lyman's definition of culture is quite comprehensive and clear when he says, and I quote, "Culture is the means whereby people feed themselves and the ways in which they experience their existence." Ellipsis. A dominant class, exclusively white, laid a foundation of a cultural force that would influence all our lives. It was the ideology of racism, a morality whose guiding light was the aristocracy of the skin. Black, a commodity for cheap labor. White was the symbol and source of authority, end of quote. In this South of my grandmother and grandfather, father and mother, still a legalized, institutionalized oppression that spoke to the imposed limitations of Black folk, separate schools, sitting at the back of the bus, separate churches, separate burial grounds, separate restaurants, separate faces, divided eyes, viewing ourselves and the world, and fear was a constant companion for Black folk, even if you were a privileged Black like my father, because he was a teacher, musician, nightclub owner, because a competent, relevant education was unavailable to most poor Blacks and working class, just as today for most poor and working class people. If you had an education, you were a privileged Black, and that made for real social stratification. One of my missions then as a writer educator has been to erase the aura of the educated class while cherishing the creative power of learning, a task for the truly creative teacher, writer, preacher, worker, lawyer, judge, mother, father, bus driver, human being. One of my missions has been to celebrate the nodding men and women, the red, black gums, corn cobs, smoking, church-going sisters, staring people who were never considered poetic or human, but we gave them life and form and beauty and made them human.
We're going to turn the program over to the amazing mistress of ceremonies, Cheryl Wright, who will be introducing our next poet. Are you there, Cheryl? Are you ready?
I'm here.
Okay.
Can you hear me? Okay. Hi. I'd like to introduce wonderful, excellent women poets that have been with us the duration of Roses and Bread. One is Liz, and the other is dequi. Please give them your attention. Hey, Liz.
Good.
This is from a longer work, untitled. There's a document, Dropbox, brazen violations, document, decryption key, document. There are tens of thousands of documents, untraceable documents, revelation, whistle, documents, oblique charges, documents, redacted documents, irregularity, documents, documents, security, documents, abuse, cables, abuse, murder, documents, a million documents, inurement and the attendant impunity, documents, a glut, documents, truth teller tried for treason. There will be no salvation through paper. A wintry squall for fear, for what crimson fury, words become attenuated, plummeting sterling as precursor. We braced for the devolution of structure, girded for the stripping away. Decisively, we cross the transom without buffer, without false comfort, catalyzed by the falling currency. Loosing the brails, we interrupt the scripted, unmoored, brandishing, reborn language. We become our own seraphim and skippers, take hold of slowly turning spokes. Storm blind and quivering, the desolate and isolate, we enter protracted struggle, brindled awareness, changing currents, solace of the blurred line, blue and clouds plunge to sea, sea replies with its bid for heaven, spin, wild spin, a Pacific bite, we, bare and robbed, forage for kindling, exiles of a known world, tend fire, prepare soil, weave fiber and give mutual aid, ensure continuance, pinning hope propitiously, more than 5,000 poppies picked, dogma dying, banish the handmaidens of persecution. We delegitimize force, thwart the monetizing of breath, harbinger of emerging space. We, the communitized, mellifluous changelings, breach the perceived and implausible chasm, laud connective ideation. We coax brave visionaries, unutterable memory, none to the gallows, none faceless to prison cells, none to the fighting fields, none to remotely press death, none to avoidable grief. Quixotic winds, pulleys clang. Isn't the sky tilting canvas, billowing silks, brimming with wishes, saved like seeds for spring? And then I just have one short piece called Poultice. How can I make a generous, unbreakable thing? There's all the small cogs and widgets, the words and springs. I have new earth and the dying earth all here enclosed in my mouth and breast, a bird beating in my lungs, the world waking for fingers. I have never put stars on this tongue. How like the world we are, fevered in our desire to hold the small machine as it churns verse and correctives. How can I make the mountain an open prison door, the new night air? A Samaritan tends colorful abrasions, wounded nightingale, the iron poured. You want to fix it all, the city, the bloodied body politic, the memory record scarred, skipping, windows of buried death, little dolls. Listen, listen, the worn way the days fall, one after another, how the pernicious deed, the rescission of summer attempts, a bluing fire, bring us or everything down to the brassy waiting minerals.
Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. As ready. Hi, I'd like to introduce a fantastic performer, a woman of great wisdom and wonderful words for all of us, for our souls, our mind, and our hearts. I give you dequi.
Thank you so much, Sister Cheryl. I'm so delighted and happy and always humbled to be a part of this special event, and especially that it's 25 years in the making and still going strong. It's so important to amplify the voices of women around the world, and so I'm always delighted that I'm invited to participate. So what I would like to do is use my time here to kind of shatter some of the silence around what's going on within poor and working class Black and brown communities around this country, around this world actually, and particularly those people who are inside the walls, then prison walls. As this virus ravages our communities on the outside, it's also ravaging our communities on the inside. And there's too much silence around it. And you know, a lot is talked about, like there's statistics, like there's, you know, the number of people die, but every time a person contracts the disease, the virus, and then is taken away from us, that's a person, that's a mother, a father, a sister, a brother, a son, or a daughter. And we give voice. It's the artists and it's the writers and events like this that give voice to those lives. So I want to highlight the concern I have for one father in particular, who is an elder, Sundiata Acoli. And I want to shatter the silence, and I know that he wouldn't be able to hear this, but I want to speak his name into the universe and into this event and show him, tell him, remind people how much we love him. So I want to share with you a poem that was written called Poem for Sundiata. And Sundiata is 83 years old. He's been in prison since 1973. And I'm very concerned about him. And I want to send him love. And this is one of the ways. And I want to share this beautiful poem again that I did not write, that was written in honor of him. And it, as I said, it's called Poem for Sundiata. I remember your smile, bright as the sun's explosion, wide as the arms of Yemaya, deep as a gushing well of kindness. I remember your smile. Slow like the dawn of recognition, quick like the wit of observation, clear as the logic of common sense. I remember your smile. Frank as a simple declaration, bold like the taste of naked love, wasn't no grinning or smirking or sneering. I remember your smile. Even when you were young, you had an old smile. Deep wrinkles spread across your brow like worn paths crossing familiar ground, laugh lines descending from eyes made old by deadly images, laughter holding back the tears. I remember your smile. Your smile is like an umbilical cord pulling me back, pulling us back to a lost continent of brown velvet faces with white incandescent teeth, radiating home, radiating peace, radiating love. Your smile wakes me up from nightmares turned into daymares, reoccurring slave mares in the twisted tinsel hell they call America. When they came and they took my baby, when the milk in my breast turned to sour curds, when there was no one there to hold me, and the voices that tried to console me sounded like empty words, I remembered your smile. Wrote off our lives with reams of paper stained with filthy, greedy lies, turned us into prison statistics using legalese linguistics, regurgitating hypocritical diatribes like thin white vomit. In the midst of body bags and toe tags and the flood of Black blood, in the midst of affirmative negation and mass extermination, I remember your smile. We remember your smile. We call on your smile. We call on your smile to give us light. They've been trying to take your smile, wipe it off your face, like they be wiping us off this earth. But you smile that smile in cages, institutionalized outrages, 20-year hits like contemptuous spit, and in spite of a bitter taste in your mouth, your smile shines strong. All of us smile lovers need to set you free. We need to free your smile, that X-ray smile beaming rays of freedom. Unchain that smile, Unchain that smile. Set it free. We love your smile. We need your smile. Your smile is sweet enough to melt hard hearts into love syrup, sweet and sticky as the nectar of freedom. We've got to free that smile, unchain that smile. Let it shine out and warm us. I want to see that smile make children laugh and light up a woman's eyes at midnight. We got to free that smile. We got to free that smile, that freedom smile, so we can all smile again. So when I think of Sundiata and I read this poem, I share this poem with you, I see his smile. And I want to share his smile with you and his name. So we add his name to the long list of people that we're praying for and wanting to come out on the other side of this alive and well. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to share this poem for Sundiata.
Thank you so much, dequi. And that poem is for him and for so many of us who feel the look and the need for that smile of the people that we love and miss so much. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Sister Cheryl. Absolutely. Yes, we have to remember and we have to point out that when they talk about people in prison and they talk about people in nursing homes, when they talk about Black and brown communities being ravaged by this virus, which is, of course, exacerbated the conditions because this is an unjust, evil empire. And so we have to amplify that they're not just numbers in prison.
That's right. Toe tags.
That's right, or toe tags. They are people that we love.
Yes.
People who we cherish and people who have lived great lives. So I love Sundiata, and I know that there are so many more people who do as well. So I'm honored to be able to share that poem with you.
And I look forward to celebrating his coming home with you. So please let us know.
I will. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Be safe.
Yeah.
dequi, I want to hug you so badly right now.
Me too.
This is also, you have just taken the dehumanizing statistics we read in the papers and turned them into something completely different. That was so powerful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Something real.
Yes, that's right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, I know that Silvia is trying to come on, but given that she's still trying to come on, I think I am going to have the great honor and excitement of introducing Cheryl Wright. Again, not this time I'm not introducing her as a mistress of ceremonies. I'm introducing her as a poet who speaks right to the heart of the experiences we all have and share. Cheryl Wright.
Hi.
Take it away.
Okay. I'm going to do something that Meg suggested I do for our first responders. And it's called Can't Wait. From the time I left you this morning, I could think of nothing except getting back to you, your softness, your warmth. I can hear you calling my name. You're wanting to feel me all over you, head to toe, the two of us, and wild, heated ecstasy. Finally, I'm back. As I open the door, I see you. I've waited all day. As I look at you, I can't get out of my clothes fast enough. Oh goodness, oh mercy. No lights needed. I know exactly where you are, waiting for me. I strip and I feel you wanting me. Oh yes, how I can't wait to get back in my bed. Thank you. Stop laughing, Dick.
That's right. That's right.
That's why it's for the first responders, because right now,
That's what they want.
all want to do, get back in their bed. They worked so hard and so long. So that's why Meg suggested that.
That's, yes.
Very appropriate.
Thank you. We'll do it again when we come back in person.
Yeah.
Now, Cheryl, are you ready to read one more poem, or are you?
Okay, I'll do Payday for those of us who know what it's like. Okay, Payday. I may not can buy anything for myself, but what I've brought are the privileges of unlocking a door and my space has light. I've brought the privilege of flipping a switch and my space has light. I've brought the privilege of opening a door where food is kept and stored to feed my children. I've brought the privilege of turning a knob which allows fire to cook the food and a window to open if it gets too hot. I've brought the privilege of picking up a receiver, push buttons, and hear my family, my friends on the other end without hearing an automated strange voice threaten to interrupt my conversation. And interrupt it quickly if I don't deposit 25 cents for the next 3 minutes. Although I can't buy me nothing, I'd much rather have keys instead of Nikes, food instead of guests who won't be eating tonight. So whenever I start feeling blue, because I didn't buy myself nothing, I go get my keys, walk through my space, open the fridge, look out the window, call a friend, and say, thank God I've got me something.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. You got to know what that's like.
That's right. And recognize those of us who have the privilege to go to the store and buy food and work from home.
It's a privilege.
All of that.
Yes, absolutely.
So both of your poems were more than appropriate and telling for the times that we are living.
Thank you. Thank you.
True.
All right. We'll do it again in person at the Commons.
That's right. 25 years, this virus don't stop nothing.
Not us.
That's
it
right.
Don't stop us.
That's right.
So,
okay.
Oh, that's weird.
And happy 25 years.
Yes,
happy 25.
That's right. Happy 25. It might be delayed, but it will not be forgotten.
I am going to be introducing Silvia Federici. She is a professor, but that is really the least of her titles. She is one of the most profound researchers and analytical thinkers in the world of feminism and class analysis and radical analysis that I've ever met. She's a wonderful writer, and we are happy to have her here to talk a little bit about her opinions and analysis of the current period of time. Silvia?
Hello, Meg. Thank you for your good, generous words. And thank you for this program. It's we really need this kind of coming together. I'm going to make a few points in the short time that we have. And first of all, I want to say that this crisis, in a way, it's a proof once more of what we have been saying, which is that this system, this capitalist system in which we live, is a system that does not guarantee our life. Or to put it more crudely, is a system that is killing us.
Yeah.
And there is no optimistic view inside from the point of view of what the system has to offer us. In fact, I think it's very important to see that what we are living and suffering now in the United States, and of course, as communities, some communities more than others, Black communities, migrant communities, people in jail, is something that has been the daily reality of people across the world. Not only through the history of capitalism, and particularly the history of colonization and imperialism, which is all studded with epidemics because of the brutality of the colonial system and the brutality of what is called capitalist development. But also in more recent time, since the 1980s, if we look at Africa, Latin America, Asia, and we look at what was the consequences of structural adjustment, this very brutal austerity program that were imposed, across, the African continent and across the world, really. We see that, people have been dealing with a situation in which their life was in danger every moment, as they were stripped of their lands, as they were stripped of access, for example, to education, to health care. Look at Africa, for instance. Since the 1980s, the continent has been so much subjected to this, again, brutal austerity program that, for example, epidemic has been a daily reality. Ebola was the last of a whole series, meningitis, cholera, all having to do, with the destruction of the basic condition of everyday life, the basic condition of reproduction, destruction of sanitary system, the fact of deteriorating health condition, malnutrition, etc. So, really, the chicken are coming home to roost in a way. And not accidentally, it's also affecting the population that have been most marginalized historically and most exploited. So I think we need to put it in this context to understand, where we are going and what the kind of struggle that is necessary. And here I have to say that, women's movement and the feminist movement is been in a special position, to say and understand, what the struggle must be, because, what is happening today is bringing to the focus the fact of the importance of reproduction, the question of the reproduction of everyday life. And by the way, it's very interesting, that's something that, and I think it's expressive of how much this capitalist system devalues our life and the reproduction of our life, that they're always talking about restarting the economy, restarting the economy, restarting the economy, restarting the economy. Well, what about where do you put the many, many activities in which people are engaged, mostly women, but also men are engaged, taking care of children, taking care of the sick, taking care of everyday life? What is that? If that is not an economy, if oikos is the home, then what is that? But that doesn't count. From a capital, only what they can, the money economy is a reality to them, right? So the thousands and thousands of hours and the thousands of life were now, mobilizing to make sure that in fact life goes on. And it's very interesting how the moment the formal economy breaks down, this other economy, which is there, which has been there all along, comes to the surface. Now everybody sees what it means, what is going on in the home, what is in fact, that is making life possible. What is actually making life possible? And I think, and this is the last point I want to make, because I think I probably use much of my time, that this is where we also have to start from. That in order to not only take care of the immediate needs, and I think it's very, very important, all these activities that in a way are coming to a climax tomorrow, May Day, right? The rent strike, we will not pay. We cannot pay, we will not pay. And all the different forms of mutual aid, right? All these incredible show of organization, generosity that is being taking place, people helping each other. But also we need to think also beyond the immediate emergency, because in fact, looking ahead into the future, they're already telling us that in the fall, the epidemic is coming back, and looking forward into the future, oh, that's what we can expect more and more. And in fact, we know that what they have been doing in terms of destroying the sanitary system here too, and destroying the ecosystem, with global warming and so on, we can expect more and more, breakdowns, reproductive breakdowns. In fact, we have been living a reproduction crisis now for many, many times. There are many communities in these countries whose life has already been on the verge of life and death on an everyday basis. Mm-hmm. So looking forward, looking to the fact that, yes, we cannot say, oh, we go back to normality, right? In fact, as people quite correctly put it, normality has been the problem. Mm-hmm. Normality has been the problem. There's no normality to go back to, right? I think we need to really think in terms of, regaining in our hands, reclaiming the resources that are necessary for our reproductive life, and also, building movements that can force the state to change, that can bring about a change beginning with the organization of our reproduction. For instance, relocalizing the resources that we need. Mm-hmm. We're eating food now that we don't know what blood has gone into it, how much exploitation, and what chemicals, what pesticides, So the ability to have, for instance, more of like community-supported agriculture, so that we know what is that we put in our body and what we put in the soil, because there's a big continuity there. Same thing with healthcare. We don't have anything in the community level, for instance, right? And where we can turn to, for prevention, for whatever problems that we have, so that we can actually have some control and understand and decide with other people collectively, what is health? What are the care that we need? What are the major problems that we are facing? So the way reproduction is being organized is organized in a way to weaken our potential, our capacities, our capacity for resistance, for transformation, all separated in our little homes, right? All dealing with our problems on an individual level and feeling often very desperate about it. And so the question, in fact, of, I've been saying this, and it's happening in many parts of the world already, creating more communal forms of reproduction, and creating more collective ways of decision-making over reproduction. In Argentina, for instance, in many parts of Latin America, you have neighborhood assemblies in which people come together to discuss what is that we want, what is that we're going to do. So we have to politicize care. We have to politicize, so that we don't just reproduce our lives, but we also reproduce a struggle. And they enable us to confront the states from a level of power, with more power in our hand than we have now, when our reproductive life, it's a life of fragmentation. It's a life of isolation. And I've looked at some statistics. Every night on TV, every night on the radio, we are given all the number of people who have been, died because of coronavirus. Do you know the last year in the United States, 48,000 people died of suicide. 48,000. And hundreds of thousands of cancer, but that's not considered epidemic. And many of the flu, and we are not even adding, those who died, killed by the police, in jails, etc., at the borders, in refugee camps. So I think when we put that into a context, we realize that we need a big change. And I think that that change has also to start from the reorganization of our day-to-day life in a way that creates a kind of solidarity ties that enables us to really gain the possibility, the courage, the strength, the power to confront the states.
Silvia, thank you so much. This is a very wonderful contribution to sowing the seeds of what we want as we go into, as we participate in our people's strike, and the strike movement continues to grow. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much to you, and happy May Day, the best.
Yes. And now we're going to conclude our 25th anniversary Roses May Day People's Strike 2020 programming with two things. The first will be a song from Bev Grant and the Human Condition. Bev Grant is an amazing singer-songwriter, and she was also one of our performers back in the past of Roses. And she'll be a real treat. And then after that, we'll hear from Magdelene Moonsamy. Now, Magdelene Moonsamy is coming to us live from South Africa. She was a leader of the ANC Youth League. She became a member of Parliament with the Economic Freedom Front, and she's now an independent lawyer and activist who is the director of the Women's Justice Foundation. She will present on the ever-growing crisis of increased domestic violence in these lockdown COVID-19 times.
It's an early spring day in a California town, a woman home all alone. The doorbell rings, she lets two men in who want to wait until her friend gets home. Well, time drags on, they're drinking beer. Next thing you know, they're getting out of line. Well, then her friend shows they get to trading blows. The odds are 2 to 1 and one's behind. Inez jumped up and screamed, "Get out of my house!" and went out to make sure they'd gone. Inez! But they waited for her and they raped her and beat her right there on the ground. Inez, in a state of rage, she went for her 22 and then went out to track them down. Inez shot the 300-pound man who helped rape her, and he fell dead on the ground. After a while, they brought her to trial for murder in the first degree. The man who had raped her testified against her and naturally got off scot-free. The defense said,
"Your Honor, this woman was raped. It's clear that her crime is justified."
The judge said,
"We're not here to judge an alleged rape. It's murder for which she's being tried."
The DA said,
"Inez, did you take off your panties? Were you wearing a bra? Did you like it?"
Inez screamed, "I killed him and I'm glad that I did. If the other man died, I'd feel fine." A man on the jury said, after all, they were just trying to show her a good time. We got the right, you know, women got the right to fight. Yeah, we got the right. We got the right to fight. We got the right to fight. Yeah, we got the right. We got the right, you know, women got the right to fight. Yeah,
pledge.
Our mandala is our power that we give to our people, to the people of the world. So our mandalas out there to everybody who's experiencing the COVID-19. And we expect that the power that we give to our people will be the power that is returned back to our people. Yes, it is a very complicated time, and it is a time that we cannot expect much in respect of how we relate, and the anticipations that we had for 2020 to some extent or another have been seized due to the COVID-19 pandemic. However, as activists, and I want to commend you, Matt, I want to commend the People's Strike, I want to commend the Black Panther movement, I want to commend the movement of the people that have inspired so many other movements like we have as South Africa, for not giving up and for continuing advocating, and the advocacy and the lobby through every aspect, whether it's the academics or the lobbyists or the grassroots. Thank you so much. We need the strength, we support the strength, and we love it. In South Africa, we've been experiencing an extensive amount of gender-based violence during this period, and it has been obviously a concern. It's not peculiar to South Africa, it is a global phenomenon, where many women are faced with being locked down with their perpetrators, with their accusers. And what we have found is that where we have statistics that prove that women are raped or murdered by their those that they know, nothing has changed during this experience. The biggest phenomenon, the biggest challenge lies in the fact that women right now do not understand how to confront or approach law enforcement, because the lockdown requires and has regulations and specifications of movement. So many women are terrified. One of the things that we've been lobbying for in South Africa is that, as opposed to placing women into a shelter, let's take the perpetrators and place them into a shelter. It is indeed a very significant turning point for many women in the world to understand their rights, but also to understand what needs to be done in a peculiar situation like this, where we revert to disaster management, or the constitution and normal law is then abrogated at the expense of a state of disaster. And what is necessary for us to realize is that, one, we need to have a constant education system, where those of us who know that there are people around us who are experiencing the kind of violence that they do are able to reach out, whether it is through a telephone call, an SMS, or whatever, to the women around us. But also to create the kind of interventions that are needed. To say, you can do this, you can do that. There are places that we can place you in, there are interventions that we can reach out to. This is a huge conundrum for many women, because the COVID-19 is not just the situation of the economy, it's not just a situation of employment and labor-related matters. It's not an ideological issue that can be reduced to whether this is biological warfare or whether this is a political onslaught. But this needs to be reduced really to the humanitarian issues of not just women and children, but the most vulnerable in our society. I just received news from Yemen about an 8-year-old girl from Kuwait who was married off to a 40-year-old person in Yemen. And on the night of the wedding, this 8-year-old child was actually died from internal injuries. And this was during the COVID-19 experience. I'm mesmerized by the fact that there are so many societies that perpetuate and continue to perpetuate these kinds of violent acts against not just women, but young girls and children. I don't believe that we can see, and I want to speak about the People's Strike, and I want to say salute to those who have been in the movement of the People's Strike, to say we salute you, and we appreciate the fact that the stance that you are taking is decisive against the regime that has been there to ensure that there will always be a beneficiator and the people will always be subjected, and we reject the beneficiator, but we support the people. Is that strike must equally rise to the task of an international obligation against the abuse of women and children during the lockdown.